Mercedes has yet to release full details and specs, but we know that virtually the entire G-Class package is new, down to its stiffer, fully boxed ladder frame fabricated from steel, yet so closely do the new truck's proportions adhere to the originals that only up close do you notice that it has grown 2.1 inches longer and 2.5 inches wider, with an additional 1.6 inches between the axles, small numbers that result in a notably roomier and more usable cabin, particularly for rear seat riders. Larger disc brakes front and rear necessitate that entry-level G550s wear at least 18-inch wheels. 19s and 20s also will be available, with the high-performance Mercedes-AMG G63 version expected to roll on 22 inches and gain the vertically slatted Panamericana grille that's spreading across the sub-brand's lineup, thanks to smarter engineering and the use of lightweight materials, such as aluminum for the hood and doors. Mercedes says that curb weights should come down by about 300 pounds versus existing models, which in our testing have weighed nearly 6,000 pounds. Dropping into the Schöckl with Benz's test pilots is a puckering dive into vehicular sadism, with marginally increased approach and breakover angles, 31 and 26 degrees. The departure angle remains at 30 degrees, as well as slightly more ground clearance than the current G550's 8.1 inches. The new G cleanly navigates steep ledges and big rocks that would tear the bumpers off most SUVs. It also sticks to steeper side slopes than the old truck, thanks in part to a 4.8-inch wider track, and it can ford 27.6 inches of water, nearly 4 inches more than before. Other tweaks to the G's foundation include moving the drivetrain above the lowest part of the frame for increased underbody protection and mounting the fuel tank ahead of the rear axle for improved crash performance. The G550's largely carry-over twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 allowed for climbing up the Schöckl's slopes with a wonderful excess of power and noise. Mercedes won't yet quote specific outputs, but it felt like the prototypes made at least the 416 horsepower of the current G550. We expect roughly 600 horses in the new G63 as an AMG-tuned 4.0-liter supplants the existing model's 5.5-liter mill. The previous 7-speed automatic transmission makes way for a new quick-shifting 9-speed unit shared with other modern Benzes, yet featuring a unique casing that incorporates the 2-speed transfer case with a default 40-60% front-rear torque split. Here, too, the AMG should have its own specific tweaks. The switches for the G's standard front, center, and rear locking differentials remain prominently placed in the center of the dashboard, along with side exit exhaust pipes that filled the woods with a burly V8 drawer. Other essential G-wagen traits that make the jump to the new model include doors that close with a vault-like cock hunk and unlock with the satisfying clack of a bolt-action rifle. While in some markets the G's locking diffs will be capable of being activated independently of its all-wheel drive mode, safety concerns in the US dictate that our models will do so only when in low range, which in the new G550 employs an even greater gear reduction than before. 2.93 to 1 versus 2.10 to 1. Toggling the low-range button on the center console also engages a new G-mode off-road setting that maximizes traction and maneuverability by softening the dampers, adjusting the programming of the engine and transmission, and deactivating the electronic stability control. There remain comfort, eco, sport, and individual setups for the street. No amount of technology makes ascending Schöckl Mountain as riveting as the express trip down, but the G's extra gearing and selectable lockers kept it chugging forward when only a couple of its tires were touching the ground, which a new 360-degree off-road camera system makes easier to do without a spotter outside the vehicle. It was clear even from our brief ride in the passenger seat that Mercedes-Benz's domestication of the Geländewagen has had little effect on its hardcore character. We'll still have much to learn about the 2019 G-Class once we finally get behind the wheel, including how it behaves in the pampered and pampering real world of six-figure luxury SUVs. But if its road manners are even close to as composed and responsive as it felt on the Schöckl's tortuous trails, this icon's transformation should be revelatory.